Hello guys, and welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to be looking at how I solved Sherlock and the valid string. And this only took me roughly about 15 minutes of whiteboarding, and I was able to break this down. So like I promised you guys that if I were to solve any medium to high level problems, I would create some instructional video on how I achieved the solution so that you guys can actually maybe solve the problem without me providing any code. I know that with my easier problems, I typically just solve the problem and I give you guys the code right there and then, and we go our ways. However, with the medium to high level problems, it would always be nice to have some type of instructions on how I solve the problem so that it makes more sense, so that I don't have a million people asking me questions underneath the comment section on my logic and the way that I actually approach the problem. All right, so in this problem, what we're given is a string, and what we need to do is figure out if we can delete or add a character to make the string valid. So for our first sample input, we're given the string AA, BB, C, and D. So obviously looking at the string, you know that if we delete D, we still have C, right? So this string is not going to be valid if we delete D. And it's not going to be valid if we delete C because we still have D. However, we still want to work through the problem in number steps to make sure that we can apply the logic to other inputs. So the first thing we have to do is count the number of frequencies of the characters within the string. For A, we have 2 occurrences. For B, we have 2 occurrences. And for C, we have 1 occurrence. And for D, we have 1 occurrence. The next thing that we want to do is take the values in our map, because we're going to be using a map to actually count the frequencies for this. You can also use an array as well. For example, if you're coming from the C language, you're not going to use a map because obviously map implementations in C is really hard to do. So you might use an array for that. So it doesn't really matter. You know that the input are going to be from lowercase a to z, right? Which are just English letters. And you just need an array of 26 spaces to go ahead and solve this. You know that you can actually take the ASCII value, which is an int, minus 97, and then that should place you within the right spot within your counter frequency index. All right, so just to optimize for space. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and take the values within our map, and we're going to go ahead and place them in a set. All right, and what this is going to do is tell us if we can actually solve this problem or not. So for example, if you only have 1 frequency, then we know that we can just go ahead and return yes, because there is nothing that we need to compare that to. All right, if we just have 1 frequency, then the string is already valid and we shouldn't really bother about it. So we can just go ahead and return yes. All right. So in this case, I have a little note here that says that we can only work with 2 frequencies. And if there are more than 2 frequencies, we cannot delete or add a character to make the string valid. So in this case right here, we have 2 frequencies. We just have 1 and 2, all right? And like I said before, we have 2 occurrences of 2 and 1 and 2 occurrences of 1. So when we go ahead and add this to our set, we can have duplicates in sets. So it's just gonna represent this as 2 and 1, which I set here as 2 and 1, or 1 and 2. Now we're going to get down here. We're going to check the size of our set frequency. And if the size is equal to 1, we're just going to go ahead and return yes. All right. And if the size is greater than 2, we're going to return no, because we can't take more than 2 frequencies to make the string valid. All right. And you will understand, for example, if we were to go ahead and add 4 here or 3 here, right? Do we delete 1 and 2, or do we delete 3 and 2? If we had 3 and 2 deleted, we still have to deal with 1 and 2. So in this case, it will not work, all right? So we get down here to where we check the size. If the size is just 2, then we need to go down and figure out if we can still get those 2 frequencies to make this string valid. So let's go down. So what we have to do is track our min and our max values within the set. So in this case, we're only going to have two values in this stage. We're going to have the variables. We're going to have the min variable and the max variable. So in our set, we have 1 and 2. So obviously, our min is going to be 1 and the max is going to be 2. Now, we need to track the values in our map, right, that match the min or the max. So in this case, we're going to have two variables. Just going to be ints. We're going to have same as min and same as max. So in this case, the max is 2. So we know that we have two variables or two instances, two instances of the currencies that are equal to the max. So our max is going to be 2. And for our min, which is 1, we have 2 1s. So our min is going to be true. All right. So we go down here and now we need to do some checks. We're going to say that if our min is equal to 1 and the same as min is equal to 1, we know that we can only delete one character here. So we know that our min, for this to pass, we can only have 1 as our min. However, we have C and D, which makes our min 2. All right. So which is the same value as the min being 2 here. So we check, is the min equal to 1? Well, the min is equal to 1. However, it's the same as min is equal to 2. So we're going to go ahead and skip this if statement. Now we check, is max minus min equal to 1? Yes. So max, which is 2, minus min is equal to 1. However, same as max is equal to 2. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and skip this if statement, and we're going to return the default no. Now let's go to our next input. So for this input, we have A, B, B, C, C, D, D, E, E, F, G, H, and I. So we count the frequencies as we did for the first input. You're going to have A, which equals to 2. We're going to have B equals to 2, C equals to 2, D equals to 2, E equals to 2, F is 1, G is 1, H is 1, and I is 1. So now we're going to go ahead and take the values within our map, which is just the frequencies, and we're going to add them to a set so that we can remove the duplicates. So in this case, we still have 1 and 2. And like I said with my previous problem here, that we can only work with 2 frequencies. And if there are more than 2 frequencies, we cannot delete or add the character to make the string valid. And if the size of our set is equal to 1, we can just return yes, because we know that the string is only valid if the occurrences are all the same. Okay, so if we have a string AA, BB, CC, then we don't have to delete or add anything in that string. If the string only had 1 character, for example, A, we only have 1 frequency of A. So in that case, we don't have to do anything. That string is already valid. And if we had anything that was greater than 2 frequencies, then we know that we can't deal with anything that has greater than 2 frequencies, because we only need to delete the character once, right? So I say that we can make more than 2 frequencies valid. So in this case, we only have 2 frequencies, so we drop down and we go here. Now we need to track the min and the max values in our set. And like I said, there will always be 2 values in this stage. We have our variables, we have the min and the max. We have our set is going to have the values 1 and 2. Our min is obviously going to be 1 and our max is going to be 2, right? Now we need to track the values within our mapped values, which have the same values as the min or the max. All right, so our map of values is going to be 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, and it's just going to match the same values here, which is 2, 2, 2, 2. Did I miss 1? I think I missed 1, but it doesn't really matter. And so I missed E here, and the rest is 1, 1, 1, 1. So it's fine. It's still fine. So in this case, our same as max should be 5, and then our same as min should be 4. All right, because our min is 1, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 for our min, and then our same as max should be 5, because I obviously forgot to put 1 there. I had to manually count this and write this down, so I made a human error there, which is fine. Computers don't, so that's a good thing. So we come down here and we check. We're going to say, well, is our min equal to 1? yes, our min is equal to 1. And is our same as min equal to 1? No, it's not equal to 1. It's equal to 4. And we know that we can only delete 1, right? In this case, we have 4. So we know that if we delete 1, 3 are going to be remaining, and we can't make this string valid from that. The next thing we're going to check is max minus min equal to 1. In this case, yes, that is true. Max is 2, and the min is 1, so we get 1 from there. And the same as max is equal to 5 because I missed 1. So the same as max is not equal to 1. So we're going to go ahead and skip this if statement, and we're going to return the default no as the answer. Now, this is the more interesting one here, and this one kind of took me a little second to wrap my head around, but that's where I added in the second if statement. And in this string here, we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, H, G, F, E, D, E, C, D, A. And then once we go through the frequency count, we have 2 A's, 2 B's, 2 C's, 2 D's, 3 E's in this case, 2 F's, 2 G's, 2 H, and 2 I's. All right. Was it an I in here? Huh. Okay, I think I messed up again. But it doesn't really matter here. The thing is here is that we have, so what am I missing here? So we have A, B, we have C, we have D, we have E, we have F, we have G, we have H. All right, I don't think we have any I, so I think this is where this was supposed to stop. All right. Again, another error mistake that I made, still fine. As long as the computer doesn't make the same errors as I did, we're okay. All right, so once we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and take our frequency values, and we're gonna go ahead and add them into the into a set here, and we're gonna get the values 2 and 3 because the occurring values here are only 2 and 3. All right. Now, like I said again, we can only work with 2 frequencies, and if there are more than 2 frequencies, we cannot delete or add characters to make this string valid. So in this case here, we check is our frequency, is our set the size is equal to 1? The answer is no, so we skip this if statement. Is it greater than 2? The answer is no, so we skip this. We come down here where it's actually 2 frequencies, right? Now we come down here, and what we gotta do is we gotta track the min and the max values in the sets. And like I said here, there will always be 2 values at this stage. Our min is obviously gonna be 2, and our max is gonna be 3. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna track the values within the map with the min or the max values. So in this case here, our min value is going to be 7 because I obviously added in 1. And I apologize for this. Maybe, I was programming today for work, and I had to, once I stopped around 4 o'clock, I made this really quick, and I think my mind is probably tired by now. So there's supposed to be 7 here, not 8. And for our max, we only have 1 because we just have 3 here. So obviously you can tell that in this case here, if we just if we take 3 minus 1, which is our difference, we will arrive at 2. And if we arrive at 2, then this right here is just going to give us 1 frequency, right? Which in this case right here will actually make this work. It means that if we just delete 1 character, then this becomes a valid string. All right, I hope that makes sense. So we come down here, we're going to check, is our min equal to 1? No, it's not equal to 1. It's equal to 2, so we could just forget that, all right, because we're ANDing. And then we're going to check, is our max minus min equal to 1? Yes, our max minus min is equal to 1. And is our same as max equal to 1? Yes, our same as max is equal to 1. So we go ahead and return yes here. And for this, we get yes. All right, so in the next part of this video, we're going to be solving, we're going to be coding this problem, and we're going to be submitting it on Hackerrank. If you guys have any questions about the problem, please let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, let's move on to the next step. In this portion of the video, we're going to be implementing the isValid method. I've gone ahead and added the test cases on Hackerrank and 4 of my own. These are test cases that I use to whiteboard the problem plus more, but I'm just going to limit them to 4. And then I've gone over and loop over the test cases and just format them out a little bit. Obviously, it would have been nice to create a separate test class where we can use JUnit for testing for this, but that's of an overkill, so I'm just letting it go this way. Anyway, so for the isValid method, the first thing we have to do is count the frequencies of the character within our string. So for this, we're going to go ahead and use a map. We're going to use an integer for the key and an integer for the value. The reason is because characters are ints in the hood, right? Under the hood, they're just integers. And let's just call this one map. It's going to equal to new hash map. All right, then we need to go ahead and loop over our characters. So we're going to say int ch for character, and we're going to do s.toChar array. Then we're going to say map dot so put if absent. We're going to put the character in 0. That's because the key doesn't exist in there. So once we put the key in there, we put the value 0. And then we're going to compute if it's present. So I'm going to say map.compute if present. We're going to put in the characters key and a by function. This is just going to be k and v. And then we just need to go ahead and modify a v. So v is just going to be +1. So this is just, if we see the character again, let's just go ahead and increment the value by 1. And we're complete. This is complete for counting the characters, all right? And what I can do is just print out the map so you guys can see the values in there. But I think that would be, you know what, that's fine. Let me just go ahead here and do SRT here and put map. And then I'm going to go ahead here and just return empty. And I'm going to go ahead and comment this out so that we don't have this printing. And Control Z, what I do. All right, and then let me just do isValid, and I'm going to go ahead and pass in this input here. All right, and close this down. So now let's go ahead and run this. So this is going to be represented as integers because I stated up here I wanted them as integers. So in this case right here, you can see that we have 2 for A, right? 2 for B, 1 for C, and 1 for D. So it's A, B, C, D. And if you look at the ASCII tables, then the value should match with the corresponding character. All right, so with that said and done, I can go ahead now and just remove this, and I'm going to just close this down. And I can uncomment this again. All right. So now let's go to the next step. So in this step, what we're going to do is create a set of integers, and this is where we're going to go ahead and consolidate all of the values within our map to see if we can actually check to see if the frequency is just a 1 frequency or 2 frequencies or 3 frequencies. All right. So in this case, we're going to call this one of values. Going to equal to new hash set, and what we're going to do is pass in our map dot values in here. All right, so what we're just going to do is take in the map dot values and we're going to convert them into a set. Now I'm going to check. I'm going to say that if value dot size, right, is equal to 1, meaning that we just have 1 frequency in there, we're going to go ahead and return yes. All right. So in this case, let's say, for example, that we only had the character A. And you know what? Let me go again here and let me comment this out here, and I'll still add that is valid. So I'm going to do SRT here, is valid. I want to make sure that you guys really understand this problem so that I don't have to really explain a lot after I've posted this. So I would say is valid, and we just pass in A. I should expect this to return a yes. So if I go ahead and run this, it should say yes because there's only 1 frequency. So what happens if I added a B here? Well, there's still just one frequency because A has a count of 1 and B has a count of 1. So we go ahead and do that. We still get yes. Well, what happens if we had, AA, BB, CC, right, D. So in this case, the frequency is still just 1 because once we add everything to the set, it's going to be consolidated. So we should get yes for this, for the answer here. All right. So otherwise, if the values, right, dot size is greater than 2, meaning that we have 3 frequencies, then we know that we need to go ahead and return no, because we cannot make 3 frequencies work. Because if we have frequency 1, 2, and 3, right, we can take away 1 and 2, but then we still have 2 and 3 left. Or if we take away 2 and 3, we still have 1 and 2 left. So in this case right here, if let's say we added another D here, right, and then we had, so we have AA and we had F. So we have 3 frequencies now. So I should expect this to return a no. All right, so you guys can see that that works right here. All right, so when this is done, we need to go ahead now and account for our min and max within the set itself. So for this, we're going to go ahead and create some variables. We're going to make max is going to equal to 0 because we know that that at least the value is going to have at least 1 occurrence in there. So you can put the max as 0 to start with, and our min, we need to start that equal to integer dot max value because if there's something smaller than it, we need to actually account for it. If we started at a 1 or at a much smaller number, then it's just going to stay that number. And then we need to create same as min, which we can set to 0 right now, and same as max, which we can set to 0. All right. So in the next step, what we need to do now is loop over our value, so our set. So we're going to say for int value in values. All right. Now we just need to track the min and the max as per the example. We're going to say that if value is greater than max, then we're going to make max the value. So we're going to say max equal to value. Same thing, I'm going to say that if, so I'm going to say that if value is less than min, then we're going to make min equals to the value. So I'm going to say min equals to value. All right, and this is it for just keeping track of our min and our max. Now, what we need to do is get the values that in our map, the values. We need to see how many values in there have the same value as our min and max. So we're going to say for int value, right, in map dot values. So in this case right here, we need to track our same as min. So we're going to say that if value is equal to min, then what we're going to do is increment same as min. We're going to say plus plus same as min. Let's say if value is equal to max, then our plus plus same as max, right? We're going to plus plus same as max. All right, so once we have that, we need to go ahead and make our checks. We're going to say that if, right, the min is equal to 1 and same as min is equal to 1. Because if the min is equal to 1 and the same as min is equal to 1, that means that we can make one deletion only and we will be okay. Because it tells us that the number of min occurrences is just 1, and that is the only occurrence that we need to delete. So in this case right here, we're going to go ahead and return yes. All right. The next thing to check to see if the max, the same as max is equal to 1. And like I told you guys before in the last sample where I showed you guys that we have 3, but everything is 2. So we need to delete 1 occurrence from 3 to make everything 2s. So in this case, we're going to say that if, first we got to check the difference between the min and the max, because if the difference is bigger than 1, then we cannot go ahead and make that deletion. Okay, so we're going to say that if max, right, which is always the bigger value, minus min is equal to 1, and same as max is equal to 1, then in this case we can make a deletion. So we're going to return yes. And the default is going to be no. All right. And this is going to be the implementation for this problem. So I'm going to go ahead here and I'm just going to go ahead and clear this out right here. And I'm going to go ahead and uncomment this portion of the code here. And we can go ahead and run this. So I'll just run this real quick. All right, and you guys can see that for our Hackerrank choices here, I think this is a little bit messed up. So what I'm going to do is increase this to about 20. All right, so it fits correctly. Now let's copy the code and let's head to Hackerrank. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy everything within the method. And I'm going to just copy that. And I'm going to go ahead to Hackerrank and scroll down. And let's just go ahead here and paste the code in here. I'm going to hit the tab key, for example. And you know what, just do Ctrl V. All right, so once we have everything here, we can go ahead and just hit run first. And all of these are correct. These are just the ones from the test cases that we took. And then let's go ahead and submit.